and that's where the data part of the product manager's job becomes so much more important. So you have to create what is called the golden set for your product area, and then use that as a way to measure if your AI is hallucinating or not, and reduce that hallucination as much as possible. Even then, you have to also put guardrails when it does hallucinate, all that stuff. But that's a separate story. But even to train your model with your specific use case, you have to do these things. So why does that matter? In the public sector, it is even more important that you don't hallucinate. Imagine that you go into your, I mean, this is actually a very real scenario. Like you go into your social security office and you basically say in US, I'm presuming this is a global audience, so I'll just give the context of social security. Social security is basically, think of it as public pension. That's And so you go into your public pension office, it recognizes you and then basically says, hey, uh, you are so and so, your pension amount is X, which is dramatically different than whatever it was in the past. And you are going to get this disbursed. And you're like, what the heck just happened? Why did this? That is a classic example of somebody making number munging wrong, right? So if all of it is driven by machines, machines can make mistakes, and we have to be very thoughtful of how you do data redundancy, data analysis, real-time feedback on from customers. All of these pieces have to be taken into account. So public sector, everywhere in the world is investing in AI. Even US actually, which is usually not the most forward country, I would say they are starting to invest quite a bit in this concept of how we stay relevant in the world of AI. This includes regulations, or some regulations, because you do want to make sure that there is a framework of testing, rigorous testing, as well as policies that are put in place to make sure AI doesn't behave irresponsibly, right? So, what does that mean for all of us? If you're a lawyer, um, responsible AI and understanding more about the policies that are getting put into effect and understanding it globally becomes a huge part of your job. It's not just about asking the LLM to give you an answer. You also have to have a perspective, and you have to start to help public sectors make the right choices. That's a new career path that didn't exist even 2-3 years back. There's a lot of need for AI ethics and policy making that just didn't exist. So public sector jobs, frankly, are going to become manifold in this area. On the other hand, there are other jobs that will disappear. Examples of jobs that will disappear: clerical jobs. Many of them are not going to exist 10 years from now. They, we don't need them. We don't need as many people to serve like customers, being in this case citizens, through customer service. Most of them will be done through AI. So while many jobs will disappear, and that's just the harsh reality, there'll also be a huge number of jobs created around data sovereignty, making sure that security is appropriate. I mean, obviously, we live in a world where bad state actors are constantly attacking different countries. And this is not a comment against any individual country. It's going to happen. Everyone does that to each other. That's the world we live in. So those kind of things. And AI is going to make it much worse, because things that were used to be easy to do are going to become dramatically easier to do. Like I can create a fraudulent voice actor right now with 5 lines of code. So these are things that are going to happen. So I would just simply state, you need to be very cognizant. If you're looking at the public sector world, you need to be very cognizant of the shifting policies that are happening. And if you're excited by that, this could be one of the best times for you. Like you would get so much opportunity to work at the cutting edge of technology and policy. That is one of, that is one of the most interesting areas.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Raj. This is a great wisdom. And thanks, Neil, for the question, for sure. So I think, again, I want to keep this as engaging as possible, interactive as possible. So guys, if you have different questions, please raise your hand, ask, whatever comes to your mind. Raj is here to help us answer whatever he can. Again, it's definitely a great opportunity for you to get insights from a leader like Raj. So Raj, maybe one of my questions to you is, what would be the most important skill or thing that hiring managers or recruiters are always feeling like it's hard to fill for the roles that is related to tech today. So again, I'm thinking about the tech stack space. So whoever in software development, product, UI, UX, those kind of roles, product management. What would be the harder thing that is very, very hard to fill today in terms of skills?
Yeah, I would say, and this will sound very weird, the hardest skill in tech is not tech. It is like it will. I'm not trying to provoke the audience on
Yeah.
Sunday, but it really is one of the hardest skills to hire for. I struggle to hire for this as well, which is creativity and learning mindset. Another way to think about this is adaptability to the environment that you're in. And yes, people can give examples of what they have done in the past, but it's really hard to discern that in a 5 hour interview loop or a 4 hour interview loop that you'll put a candidate through. So we are still trying to figure out like how to basically do this. We've created an vibe coding exercise that allows you to show your creativity, all those pieces, but it's still not perfect by any means. So hardest skill to both hire for and to demonstrate, both sides. Like both as a recruiter or as a hiring manager, you have to be thoughtful on how you hire, and as a candidate, you have to demonstrate that is your learning mindset and your ability to be creative.
Thank you. That's a good insight, Raj. And again, I'll leave Karen to ask her question, then maybe I'll come back for a follow up. Karen, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, Raj. Thanks for doing this. You had mentioned about the importance of companies being AI forward, and I definitely agree on that. I have an interview this week. I've had a screen through a headhunter who approached me. I will have the first interview with the person that will be my manager on Tuesday. And one of the things that came up with the screen with the headhunter is he brought up my experience in AI, but then he also he said things that made me think that this company might not be embracing AI a whole lot. And I'm in copywriting and communication, so I'm not in the development end of things, but I also have done prompt engineering and evaluation, as you mentioned. I'm just curious, and I won't know until I start talking to the actual team, but if it turns out that they aren't so AI forward, do you have any insights as to how I might want to talk to them about the value of AI in a way that won't put them off, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the main question that the way I interpret it is, you want to be part of AI forward company. You're trying to evaluate if this company is AI forward or not. And if it isn't, then this may not be the right fit.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's so many other valuable things about this company that it may not be a huge thing. I feel like since the work that I've done in AI is fairly prominent on my resume, it will probably come up.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. I mean, I think it's some companies are deceptively AI forward. What do I mean by that? They have a lot of appetite. They just haven't demonstrated that because they don't have the right people in the right boxes. And so I would not discount a company just because in the conversations you've had, they haven't demonstrated an tremendous knowledge of or appetite to drive AI forward. What I would push them to do, I mean, you're actually in an area that is getting eaten alive by AI in some ways, which is content writing, right? So content writing and communication is dramatically changing. And that does not mean we don't need people. This is where people make the mistake, think that, suddenly AI is going to produce all sorts of documents and it will just happen by itself. I'll give you a simple example. In PayPal today, our developer documentation is not good. It's average, pretty mediocre. And compared to some of our competitors, we are lagging behind. And it's a leapfrog moment for us. We can actually use AI to make our documentation significantly better. We can use AI to even produce things that were impossible to produce in the past, like actual code snippets that can run in production that someone can take. And that's what developer documentation should evolve into. Now, if you came into a company like that and you basically said, I have got experience with LLMs, I know prompt engineering really well. I know how to think about a system that will be 75% automated, 25% human driven, as opposed to now the opposite. And let me show you how. I think the company will love you. So I don't think it's a negative. I think it's more of an opportunity and an explanation. And if after the conversation you feel like they're not understanding what you're talking about and they don't have call it a level of empathy that you expect, then it's a different conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mahmoud, if you want to unmute and ask your question.
No, actually, I have a comment on the interview, listening from at the hat of a coach. So I just wanted to give a feedback on this. Might be useful in your interview, Karen. Most of the time when we get on the interview, try to avoid telling the employer what is missing or what they need to do, because there is at this point, you don't have any balance with them or trustworthiness yet, because you just met. Okay. So I usually I give this example to people. I say, when I hire myself in my company and other places, I tell them this example. I have a car, okay, running on 4 wheels. 2 of the wheels are flat. So when I'm hiring you, I want you to put air into my flat tires so that this car can continue to move. Don't come in the interview telling me you need to sell the car and get a new car. Right? That won't fly, right? So, however, when you get inside the company and you can, in the interview, inquire about their scope of AI, what their intention is, what they're doing currently, what they're looking forward to, and all this stuff, and you have the information. When you get inside and you help them and you earn their trust, then you can start suggesting, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Now, in your area where Raj was sharing that in the content writing, there's a lot of attempts for AI to write for us and give us content and all this stuff. So when you support them with how their business is running now and they earn your trust, and you start talking about improving and introducing AI, where even sometimes in the part to make your point is, hey, I am introducing this, even with the risk that this might take my job, but I'm still committed to what you're doing. So I am sharing with you where the direction is going, and you become a subject matter expert that leads them into the area of your expertise, into the AI area. That would make more sense. But try to be on the cautious side to tell them when you first met on that first interview what they should be doing. You don't like to be told what to do you?
No, thanks.
Okay, and they won't either.
Yeah.
Awesome, great insight. Thanks, Mahmoud. So, Raj, I guess I want to come back to what you mentioned about the most important skill that most tech folks need to work on. And again, you mentioned soft skills is one of the hardest thing. So, again, this is a hard one today for especially tech folks, because they think they want to do more tech related learnings to catch up with whatever is going on, cloud, AI, big data and others, and in the same time they want to improve something that they didn't develop as much. Most tech folks, if you will, are mostly introverts. They shy a little bit from discussions, and that would make it a little bit hard. So how can I balance, if you were in their position today and you're looking for a job and you're not good in soft skills, you're not really good in technical skills, what would you do? How would you balance?
I actually think you can learn to get better in soft skills, or arguably communication skills. Let's start with just that. Communication skills every day. There is no, you can get incrementally better every single day. And what do I mean by that? There's a reason why people say you have 2 ears and one mouth. So even if you're an introvert, your listening skills can become significantly better. And I have myself experienced that over the years. I pay attention to every word that someone says in a meeting that I know is high stakes, and I am able to understand exactly what they're looking for. And a lot of things that you say are unsaid. So you also start to understand the other person's gestures. If they're visibly upset about something, those things you start to look at that. So I would say practicing that is not hard. For anyone who is married, your spouse is actually another example of someone you have to understand more. You live with that person, so understanding that person better will also help you in your communication skills. So, long story short, I think you can improve on it every day, and there are so many videos in YouTube. I mean, there's like gazillion tools on this, but I would try to simplify these things into how do I, every interaction that I have, how do I be conscious about what is that other person looking for, and try to understand that more and more. If you can get better at reading the room and understanding what the other person is wanting, that it will get you 95% of the way in communication.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Rachana, I think you're next. Go ahead and unmute, ask your question.
Thank you, Ahmed. I was just trying to kind of like a cross question what Raj was talking about earlier, the impact of AI basically. So right now we were just talking about the impact, how the on technology, basically how it's happening. Can you shed the light a little bit, like how the non-tech industry is going to be impacted with AI, and also there are so many people, they don't have resources, but as you said earlier, you can actually share some resources to bring up to speed, and then maybe bring it to the situation where you can say, hey, I know how to actually deal with AI, and whenever that time comes, like I'm ready for whenever you are ready for the company.
Yep. So let's take some extreme examples, and I'll share some stories. Usually, I like to share stories. Today has been a little bit cut and dry. I've been just feel like I'm lecturing on the use of AI more than actually telling you some personal anecdotes. So let's start with one. My toilet stopped working about 3 weeks back, one morning, and it happens to all of us, right? So sometimes, and this is a Saturday morning, so I'm really upset. I'm like, what do I do? Look up some places and find this guy who is on Thumbtack, which is basically think of it as a marketplace for plumbers, electricians, all of these home services people. You can find them on Thumbtack. So I reach out to this plumber who's 5-star rated, whatnot, seems really great. He shows up in my house and he fixes the toilet and everything. And then he comes to me and he says, you don't need to pay me $200 to do this. There's a YouTube video that you have, and you can go in and look at that, and you can fix it yourself. And here's the tip. Here's how you should do it. And by the way, what are you doing about AI? And I'm like, my jaws drop. I'm like, this guy is talking about AI? Like, he's a plumber. Like, what's going on? And he's like, yeah. What do you think of AI? You seem to be a tech person. Like, what's going on with AI? Tell me more about how should I have a better brand presence so that I can get more customers through AI? Where should I show up? So we had a lovely 30-minute conversation. And I'm literally talking a plumber who barely finished high school, and then went to trade school, has been running his business for the last 10, 15 years. Definitely a smart guy. Obviously, I mean, intelligence has nothing to do with your college or anything, but the last person you'd expect to talk about customer acquisition. Like literally, he talked about what is today called answer optimization. He was like, how do I actually create a blog, blah, blah, blah. What can I do? All this stuff. It comes full circle to Karen's world on communication and all of these. So when you think of every industry, they're all aware that things are changing. We've passed the Google moment. And what I mean by the Google moment is search is important. That's the Google moment. That is gone. AI, everybody realizes AI is important. It's going to become part of our life. That yes, there will be hype cycle, there will be a bust. I know for a fact there'll be some kind of a bust at some point. Who knows when? If I knew, I would be a trillionaire, not a. But the point is, every industry is changing, and so I give you the example of a very old school industry that does not require any of the typical skills that AI requires, but the person running a business is thinking about it every day. I'll take another example of my eye doctor. So I have a long-standing eye problem that I have to go to see an eye doctor every 3 months. And so I go to my eye doctor, and this is the first time he's like, actually, I can see your optic nerves differently now. I've got this tool that recently got published with computer vision, and we can go a little bit more detailed into understanding. It's called optic scanning. What exactly is the state of your optic nerve? And I was taken aback. I was like, really? Like, what's going on? Is this going to fix I'm glaucoma suspect, so I'm very worried anytime I hear something about my optic nerve. And so he basically says, no, actually, we are now able to detect at the micron level. And micron is like, think of it as 1/1000th of millimeter, I believe. So maybe getting it wrong, but some percentage much smaller than millimeter. We can't even measure millimeter properly, so it's that small, and they're able to detect at that micron level whether my optic nerve is shrinking or not, which gives me hope that they will know exactly if something is going wrong. And that kind of knowledge and ability in the medical field is going to change all our lives. Cancer will be detected faster. Any diagnostics will happen much faster. Also, it will become part of your daily life, like your Apple Watch or whatever your favorite watch tool that you have on you. They're going to start to tell you way more about yourself than you ever wanted to. So all these things are happening. Every field, medical field, traditional field like industrials, when you think about manufacturing, when you think about automotive, all of this are going to change. And that's where the tech optimist comes in. I think our lives will become 10 times better in the next decade than it was. The pessimist in me is, are human beings ready for the pace of change? That is my biggest worry, and that's why these kind of forums give me a chance to explain both the excitement and the challenges. We have to adapt, and I don't know if we can as a society this fast.
And then if you don't mind, just sharing some resources for.
Oh yeah.
So that would be great.
So I would say that happy to also work with Ahmed offline and send it to the group. But the easiest, quickest thing, go to Anthropic and go to OpenAI and go to Gemini. These three, they have provided so many free resources, unbelievable. Like you can sign up. Google Cloud is going to give you. I got 6 months of free trial and did a bunch of stuff with them. Pretty much everything is free for you to get started, for you to build something interesting. If you build something scalable, then you have to pay. But even there, they have startup programs where, honestly, you can get away with paying nothing for the first year. Which leads me to one very important thing that I actually haven't talked about. We are going to see many more micro entrepreneurs getting created as part of AI. Many of you will at some point be tired of your jobs and basically say, why am I doing this? I'm just going to build my own company. It's happening to so many of my friends. I'm 48 years old now. Some of my friends are a little bit above 50. They're like, yeah, we've made enough. Our college the fees are done. Like our kids have graduated. Lifestyle doesn't require that much money. So why don't I actually put my hat in the ring to start something new? And that's happening all over the place. So I actually think why I bring this up, that means all these companies are going to be super incentivized to create more and more interesting materials so that you use their platform. So it's the golden age of learning. Like if you're excited, there's no dearth of online resources for free. And stay away from people who are selling you AI courses for tens of thousands of dollars. Like those are just garbage. Sorry for the very direct opinion. There are some that I really like. We can talk about that. They charge a little bit of money, but they're not like astronomically expensive or anything. But for the most part, everything is free.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Raj. Rachana, do you have any follow-up here? Are you good? Should I move to the next one?
Maybe offline, maybe. Yes, I do have, but maybe offline will be better.
Sounds good. Okay. Nilofer, Habibullah, if you want to unmute, and share your question, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, thank you, Raj. Amazing, very impressive session about, embracing AI, the advantages of AI. I'm obviously getting myself acquainted with AI and attending a lot of workshops. And by the way, I have a background in project management. And yeah, so my question is more around, we obviously talk about everybody using the AI applications and, most of the organization relying on AI to do their daily task, right? In your experience, and we've talked a lot about the advantages of AI, what I'd like to understand is, in your experience, have you encountered any drawbacks or any disadvantages of using AI? We've talked so many advantages, like there are a bunch of them. So I'd like to hear more in terms of what are some of the disadvantages in your personal experience that you have experienced.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot. Let's be very clear. The disadvantages are quite a few, and let's start with something very basic. I had someone who was a fairly junior person in my team who basically used AI to produce, call it a set of code and PRDs, and shipped it to production without proper testing. It passed the base use cases, but didn't pass the corner use cases, and it started essentially failing for some of the corner use cases. And this was code that we shipped, like in production. I won't be able to disclose anything more than that because these are all private things. But it was just so mind-boggling to see how AI can make up stuff, and like for certain parts of the call it logic, the logic tree that we had, it just wouldn't even work. So, and that's not AI's fault. That is not AI's fault. That is our fault in not using AI correctly. So in all of this, I just want to be super clear. It's that humans should always feel that they're in charge of using AI effectively to drive the outcomes they want. No one's going to hold an AI accountable. Will you fire an AI employee? Maybe, but I mean,
no, absolutely makes sense. Yeah.
So I think that's one simple example. The other one that I keep coming up with, and this is actually very interesting. My daughter was putting together, and I mentioned I have a 19-year-old who is currently a sophomore in college. Sophomore is second-year student for those outside of the US or Canada. So I would say one of the things she's part of, I think it's called the Collegiate Consulting Club or something, some consulting club, and they were putting together a pitch for a company. And she sent me the pitch and she said, "Dad, can you look at it? Am I in the right direction?" All that. Most of the information was great. And then there was something about the company's financials and company's growth trajectory. And I said, "Where did you get this?" She said, "Well, I actually asked ChatGPT and they produced it. Like the rest of the stuff I evaluated, but I presumed that ChatGPT will know the answer." I said, "Don't presume anything, because all the stuff that you have produced here is garbage. There's nothing like that exists out there." So that's another simple example.
Well, I've kind of experienced this myself. Like what I realized that, and you, as you rightly mentioned, right, that it is solely on you in terms of what prompts do you give to AI. I did attend one of the workshops where they talked about prompt engineering and what are the suitable prompts that you could use to give it to AI. And surprisingly, it's the same prompt that's given by like 10 students in the class, and AI gives you different answers for all 10 students.
Yeah.
And it's the same tool, exactly the same tool. You give the same prompt, but different responses. So that was really mind-boggling, because you would expect, okay, you have the code already ready. So you just have to put it in the AI tool and you would expect the same response.
You won't. And so this is actually really important to understand. AI is incredibly context specific and AI is personalized. So you and I can both, like literally both, there are some things that are fundamentally accurate or inaccurate. The capital of US should not be different based on what you asked and what I asked. But the answer might be vastly different. If he said, hey, I want to visit Washington, D.C., what should I see? Same question, right? Same prompt.
Yeah.
What you will get versus what I will get will be vastly different.
Yes, sure. Yeah, just one last question.
Sure.
I obviously want to give opportunities to others as well, so I'm just going to make it quick. In terms of learning, yes, I observed that you did recommend some of the resources that we could use, Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini. Now, in terms of organization hiring, like when they look at you being an AI expert, right. What are some of the fundamental or just the basic course that you would recommend someone who's a little above the beginner's level, right? I mean, I have used these resources and I've got myself acquainted with AI. I understand how the back end of the AI works. Now, for me to be eligible to apply for a role in AI, assuming AI project manager, right? Are there any courses that you would recommend? Because I also volunteer with Project Management Institute. And there is another course, that I was kind of leaning towards to do that because this is more, again, related to, it is CAPMAI. I think that's the course.
Okay.
CPMAI, I'm sorry. I'm going to put that in the chat for you.
Yeah.
So, this is the course that I was thinking that maybe I should do to get myself more acquainted with AI. And I just wanted to understand what are your thoughts and what would you recommend in terms of certification?
Different people learn differently. So I'll tell you, I mean, and that's very important to understand about yourself. All of us are old enough that we need to know how we learn. And I learn by whiteboarding and talking. I'll give you an example. So I don't learn by reading. Yes, reading gives me the reinforcement, but I need to be able to talk to someone and share my thinking. Otherwise, I won't learn. So it's important that you figure out what is the right way to learn, because that might mean that, hey, I need to be in a physical class with a bunch of people, and I need to work together with them to learn something new. So what I would recommend strongly for everyone in this room, build something. Like truly find your passion, whatever it is, whatever you're excited about. And it can be a me too. You're not building a company. You're building something for fun.
I've tried my hands on building a chatbot tool, like just on an open, it's on a free trial basis. I've kind of tried that to understand how the algorithm works in the back end.
And that is a good start. I would say it's really important to not get theoretical about AI. You need some of the theory, for sure. But for the most part, you need the practice.
Understood. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much, Raj. Thank you for those insights. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Amazing. We're running quickly out of time, but we definitely want to take some of the questions here, and then we stop after 5 minutes to take the group selfie. And if Raj can stay a little bit longer than the top of the hour, then we'll definitely keep rolling here. So Marwan, if you want to unmute. Oh, you dropped your question? Okay. Neil, if you want to unmute and ask your question.
So yeah, Raj, that was an excellent advice, is to get building projects. I see a lot of people. So I was 30 years in tech. I was a geoeconomist before that, and I switched to tech. I retired from Microsoft after 7 years. And one of the things I see a lot of people ask me, well, what courses should I take? What degree should I go to? Should I go back to school? Should I do this? Should I do that? And the fact is that they spend more time doing courses than they do actually planning, plotting, and figuring out what jobs they want, what companies or organizations they want to work to, building what examples. Like everybody can take a course in Udemy or whatever. And then so they avoid the part of networking and getting out and talking to people and actually trying to find out and make contacts. And that's the number one critical thing. Do what Raj is talking about. Build something you can actually show as an example to an organization. Well, this is what I can do for you. And you'll learn a lot of those skill sets along the way quicker than if you sit there plowing through courses. Because like Raj, I can only sit and listen to a course or song, and I start losing my marbles. I have to talk like you on a whiteboard and discuss, or I have to build something to learn. But if you have a tangible objective, and you can actually, and that helps your networking too. When you're talking to me, you say, hey, look, I've been building this stuff. And you might even have ideas. They may have ideas. You can build it bigger and bigger and better, and they'll invite you to another project that's doing something else similar. That kind of work, it opens up so many avenues for you and contacts, and that's how you get jobs, is getting to know people.
Yep.
So thanks, Raj. That was really great.
I love
Great
it.
advice.
Thank you. Marwan, you're next.
Hi guys. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question was more about the fact that AI has been sort of blew up in the past, I'd say maybe like 2 years, especially in the last year or so as well. And my question was more about the idea or like the possibility of AI being a bubble. I've heard that a lot of like in many places. So I'm wondering if this is something that's going to be here to stay, or is it like maybe something that the market is more or less inflating? Especially like after, like I remember when DeepSeek first came out, it had such a huge impact because they were making they were getting about the same results for half the cost, I suppose, as like OpenAI, and it had like such a big deal, especially in the like US market or like Western market. So I'm wondering like what's the future of AI going to be like? Or like are they gonna take over all our jobs, or is it like sort of like we just have to adapt? So yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball of 10 years out. I don't want to give any false promises that everyone will be the same. And I actually think, so history does not quite repeat itself, but it rhymes. And that is something that will happen in this case as well. And so if you think about human history, the 1880s for a second, like none of us were there, but 1880s, electricity is like steam engines are now done, like in their heyday, and railroads are getting created in the United States. And now imagine suddenly this guy, Thomas Alva Edison, creating the most important invention of that time, which is electricity, light bulbs. And that gets created. It takes 45 years for electricity to become mainstream. 45 years. You can go back, read any article, anything, it'll give you the timelines of what happened. We are seeing that 45 years get compressed to maybe 4 months. That is why I'm more nervous than ever about our ability to absorb the change. It's not that things will not get better, they will. But oftentimes things go askew before they get better. And so this is the part of me that is cautious, even though I'm a tech optimist for the long term. There is real challenges in the near term that we have to work through. Unemployment among the new college grads is the highest it has ever been in the United States. So what does that mean for all of us? If the kids of tomorrow are not getting jobs, good luck having a stable economy. So I think those are kinds of things that I'm very worried about, read up a lot, trying my best to help, and need to probably do more in my life. I haven't quite figured out how I will help more, but that's part of what keeps me awake at night.
Amazing.
So it's a sobering answer. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you a very optimistic answer, but it is something that really keeps me awake at night.
Marwan, do you have any follow-up before we wrap it up here? You good?
No, I don't really, like, I kind of get where the concern is from, and that's like, especially as someone who like has been working in the creative field for a very long time now. Not that long, but a few years. I already like see that impact as well, like in copywriting and marketing and social media and like everything. So it is scary, but at the same time, it's a matter of like who can adapt the most. That's how I see it, or who can adapt the most quickly is a better way.
Yes, and I know. Yeah, so, I know. Yeah. In the chat, actually, Nilüfer put in that hey. AI will not take away your job, but someone using AI might. Generally, I agree with that. The problem is if everybody is at a point where their job is transforming all at the same time, as a human society, can we adapt to that? That is what this is a broader macro point. This is not an individual micro point. That's the challenge.
Yeah, well, this is normally I hear every time when people talk about losing their jobs because of AI, and this is something we've been made to believe in today, that you have to know AI, right? And it'll just help you do your job better, not really take it away. You're just going to improvise in what you're doing. Time-consuming tasks will obviously get better, right? I mean, you'll be able to do certain tasks that takes away most of your time in a much shorter time. So I think, yeah, based on what I keep hearing is what I and sort of,
you're right.
I kind of believe it in, right?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right that the statement is factually correct. I think the part that where I'm pushing for all of you is what's in your control versus what's not in your control. What's in your control is being AI forward, learning about the tools and technologies that are out there, and truly deeply embracing it. What's outside your control is what is happening to the broader world. I mean, look, we live in uncertain times. I mean, even yesterday, Ukraine's got bombed, like, I don't know, like for the last 24 hours. And I truly am not very political at all, but it's scary times that these things are happening in front of us. So what does that mean for all of us? I don't know the answer to that. And AI will actually make these things worse, just to be blunt. The bombing I talked about was done by drones, not by humans.
Yeah. Again, Raj, this is amazing call. I really, can't stop, those discussions. Those are very, very insightful, very inspiring, and there is tons of wisdom that you shared. And we always, try to take the group selfie here together just as a memory, and I use this for marketing purpose. To be honest, just to bring more people to this community, to this forum. I can't thank you enough, Raj, and I can't thank everybody who joined us today. And I wish you had time for us to continue come on those calls. Hopefully whenever your time permits. I know you're very busy, but if you ever can come to those forums, we'll be happy to have you with us here. So guys, if you wanna join the selfie, and again we'll stay. If you're ready to be in camera, join the selfie. Is this your time? So I'll give you a few seconds here. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3 and smile. Okay, so when you're ready, 1, 2, 3 and smile. Awesome. Thank you so much, Raj, and thank you so much everybody for doing this session today. This is amazing. I love the wisdom. We definitely have a ton of more questions, but we'll give the audience the chance to ask. Mahmoud, I think you have your hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, let me first remove my hand. Okay, so Raja, I'll make a statement and correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my thought about this. I feel whenever our jobs turn to repetitive tasks, where the gift of the human mind is not showing, the mental work is not done, and the physical work is the one only that's done, that is easily replaceable and replicatable. I am pretty sure when they invented the calculator, some accountant freaked out. Right. And then when they made accounting software, the same accountants also community freaked out. And today we have, software that does your personal tax. And accountants also will freak out, right? But when I look at that and take that as an example, if I ask you, go take a software that you're going to pay $35 to do your personal tax, but you're going to get $200 of return, or go pay an accountant $200 and you're going to get $1,500 of return, you're most likely going to go to pay $200 for the accountant to get the $1,500. So what I'm trying to say that there's always going to evolve. Worry if your contribution on that job you're afraid about is only mechanical work that is being done repetitive, and your value that your mind brings into that job is diminished. That's when you have to
100%.
worry.
100%.
Right?
I mean, that's why the hardest skill to evaluate is creativity. because you really are trying to evaluate, is the human mind going to make this better or not? And despite all the advances in AI, and there's talk of artificial general intelligence becoming reality in this decade, I am not a big believer that AGI will happen in the truest sense of the term, where you have a machine that is perfect in its intelligence and is able to do what humans do and do it 10,000 times better for every task. That's what AGI would mean. That it is actually everything we do, it is able to do, and it's doing it millions of times better than us.
And that's correct. That's correct. And I can bring something to an example from and most of those of you on the call at one point, you're either now doing job hunt or a job seeker somehow. Ahmed and I have talked and examined in our commitment to expedite the journey of job seekers to a job. We have examined tools that are out there in that domain that claim that they're going to do AI this or that and either apply for you automatically or do your resume and all this stuff. And I used to have this, feedback with Ahmed and saying, you know what, when I look at certain tools, the blocks are there, but the puzzle is not right? The experience of the puzzle is not there. Every piece is siloed, but when you put them together, that tool or this tool is not putting the pieces together in the puzzle that I would say makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are using the tools, but despite using the tools, they're still not getting results. They might get an interview, but they don't pass it. They might get this or that, but not the entire journey. The entire journey does not close because for biggest part, in my opinion, it comes from the bottom up, right? It's not the big picture down to the details. It comes from a developer who wants to put the tools together, and in putting the tools together, it's not replacing the experience, or there's no experience into it. The mental part that I was sharing earlier.
Agreed. Very much agreed. Maybe one last question from Suha. Yeah.
Hi. Hi, everyone. For the information. So my question is, I know that AI is here and we have to know at least like the knowledge and the tools, but the companies when like apply for a company or apply for a new job, do they look for a certificate or a college or or just they need just the knowledge or hands-on projects? So what they are looking exactly for. So I know the material, but I don't have a certificate, for example. So
yeah, if you know the material, others don't know that you know the material. That sounds like a very direct statement, but you need to prove to others that you know what you know. So that needs to be part of it. The reason people go to college, I've come down to very simply, the reason people go to colleges is signal. It's a signaling mechanism. The reason you go to a top tier college and you end up getting usually on average a better opportunity than an average college is because it's a signal to the employer that you have gone through a screening criteria, whatever the screening criteria is, and you stood out. That's all it is. Like you need to find a way to help the employer understand why they should spend their time with you.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Raj, again, I know that your time is, wrapping up today, and we definitely want to thank you so much for the wisdom and insight that you shared with us. And we're definitely looking forward to having you back, to this community sometime, whenever, time permits. I'll check this with you offline and see, what we can do in the next few months and so on. Any final words you want to share with this group, before we wrap it up?
I want to first thank you. I know you're doing this on your weekend, and I don't know if you get enough people to thank you, but you're doing really God's work.
Thank you.
So I could genuinely appreciate what you're doing, and very appreciative of everyone who joined as well. I learned a bunch of things, like when Neil talked about his life experience. That's great. Like I'll actually take that away as a learning for me. So maybe the only thing I'll share at the end, learning can happen anywhere, and it can happen if you're open-minded. Just have that. Be open-minded to learning from anyone and everywhere.
I love it. Thank you so much, Raj. I think we'll maybe stay a little bit longer, myself and Neil and um, uh, Mahmoud, if anyone have more questions. But we definitely want to thank you, Raj. This is amazing, and looking forward to having you in the job fair in December. You promised to be there in that time, so thank you so much for this, and we wish you all the best, and thank you again. Take care. Thank you, sir.
Take care. Thank you, everyone.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. Okay, guys, we'll stay a little bit longer just to answer any questions, and if there is no more questions, we'll wrap it up. So myself, Mahmoud, and Neil, could help you with your questions. If there is anything, not AI related, we cannot say that we're that AI expert related, but we are coaches and we can help you with your job search. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and give you back your Sunday. Okay, I don't see questions. We'll give it maybe a few seconds more. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and give you back the Sunday. Okay, seems like everybody is ready to get back the Sunday. So thank you so much, Neil, Mahmoud, and everybody who joined us today. Stay positive, stay proud. I know it's hard out there, but there is chance to land your job if you stay focused, if you're able to understand your superpowers and use them to your advantage. Thank you so much, Mahmoud. Thank you so much, Neil. Take care. Lucia.
Yeah,
okay. I think there's someone raised their hand. Okay. Okay, go ahead,
Lucia.
So you do that every Sunday?
Yes. Yes.
The weekend, Saturday and Sunday?
We do this every Sunday, 11 a.m. And I'm also introducing another call on Tuesdays, starting from October 7th, 5 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be just a quick Q&A, just open Q&A. There is no speakers, mostly you guys coming and asking questions. So if you want to join those calls, just DM me on LinkedIn, and I'll send you the link.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Awesome. Any other questions? Anything else? Mahmoud, do you want to share anything about what we discussed today? Anything that comes to your mind? I know you sometimes have, some perspectives about AI and what people are saying.
No, I think I interjected with Raj to share that if something is useful to share is it's not useful to be in the mindset of always being on the defensive and scared, right? It's really limiting. Every time we're scared about something, it stresses us out. We start reacting to this stress repulsively, and on the long run, it doesn't leave us with a peace of mind to be able to move forward and navigate through that. So whether it's AI, and you feel that. That these concerns and fears are nonstop sometimes. So I always say, you made the statement, the market is hard, and I don't even like subscribing to the fact that it's hard, right? As you know, remember me, I always say the market is the market, hard or soft or chewy or fluffy. It doesn't help me, right? Absolutely. So whether it's the job market or an AI. There will be a set of things to navigate through, but with expert advice here, expert advice there. We got Raj and said, okay, Raj, this is what's happening. This is our concerns, right? What do you see as an expert? And the expert says, take this path X, take this path Y. And if we trust that, then we take that path. Okay. So imagine me coming to this and asking Raj, what do you think of AI or not? And he says, do X, and then I go do Y. So what's the point of having an expert and having the discussion to start? So this is what, the mental part that drives us. And sometimes we're not present to that. So I like to always distinguish that and highlight that.
I love it. Neil, go ahead, sir.
I agree with Mahmoud. I do a bit of reading on how AI is used for coding, and one of the things it's not particularly great at is doing error checking, bug reviews, and things like that. And because it gets all kind of mixed up when it fixes a bug, and then it impacts another one and another one, and then it spins itself. There's been stories of how it spins itself into a cycle where it doesn't actually solve anything. And so this is where people are, and developers, especially new developers, spend most of their time doing fixing code, staring at screens, and bug development. But the other aspect is the fact that companies are testing out AI. They're applying them in very specific areas where they can get quick wins. It doesn't mean they're going all in the next week or two. So there's still a lot of work that gets done on a daily basis. They got tech debt galore that goes back decades, in particular in government, PubSec, insurance companies. Some of these guys, they have some really old tech debt that they're trying to figure out that can't necessarily be solved by AI. There's a lot of architecting and coding and work that has to be done. But at the same time, if you're trying to get into the industry, you have to think outside of the box in terms of opportunities and roles that are not necessarily directly coding. So if you've got a communications background, you have a skill set of talking to people and can explain things and be an interface between the business and tech. And you can be or in a company that sells a particular software or whatever, a customer success manager, where you have to understand the technology but deal with the business and the customers at the same time. This is a way into tech, and if you get in there, you can look for the opportunities where you might be able to walk into doing programming. But one of the things I found talking to lots of people who want to be coders is they assume that I'm writing tons of code, oh wow, look at this stuff work, it's going so great, I'm building the next Facebook or something like that, it's so cool, and I got all sorts of autonomy. And really you're part of these pipelines and streams where you're got to meet code deadlines, you're staring at screens for hours on end. It's an incredibly disciplined environment. So I would think very carefully about the type of personality you have, and working with someone like Mahmoud, who's an expert in this area, to really find out what actually can make you work 10 hours a day. Just being in tech is great, but to sit down and code all day is very difficult. So look to these different opportunities to get in, because I went in, I wasn't a tech person. I didn't do programming. We didn't have Udemy and all these courses online back. I'm old. So I went through sales. I was an account exec and then did a lot of tech stuff on my own, figuring things out, and then sort of worked my way through getting to know people once I was in companies. And so Oracle, I went as an account exec and then switched to pre-sales, technical pre-sales. So these are really just different ways to look about how to get jobs and how to get to where you want to get to. Okay.
Amazing.
Ahmed, if you don't mind, I want to share something also about AI personal. I'll share some funny story. The AI, by far, even today as we're speaking, it's not mature yet. I always say AI is like your 12 years old son or daughter, tons of energy, no experience, right? So let me share with you something that happened. So a few months back, I wanted to, exercise and go back on diet and lose weight. So I decided to have this interaction with ChatGPT and the paid version, mind you, right? Let's try to see what my calorie intake and all this stuff, given my weight and my height and my activity and all this stuff. So it went out and got the information that it got, and I'll use what was there. It told me, based on this and the weight you want to lose, you should be eating 1900 calories every day. So I said, great. If that's the case, then now I didn't validate that 19 is true. It might be wrong, right? If I press on it and say, "Are you sure?" It's like, "Oops, sorry, it's 2000," right? And it does that, and you probably experienced that with the AI before. If you say, "Are you sure?" it will give you some other details that didn't give you in the first time. Then I started saying, "Okay, build out for me my plan, what is the macros, like how do I need what proteins, what carbs, what fats do I need." So it gave me something as well. So I said, okay, great, build me a meal, right? My weekly meal. So it started building me my weekly meal. I look at the details. There is no way that this is 1900 calories. Here's the experience. See, because I have done diet a lot. Okay, so I was able to look over the machine and tell the machine, that you're telling me is not 1900, and that combination of protein, fats and carbs does not come to 900. Then the machine is like, oops, sorry, it's blah 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 blah. It gives me something else. So I start getting skeptical. So I said, you know what? Don't give me the entire day. I am breaking it into 4 meals. Give me the macros on each meal. So it starts giving me the macros on each meal. I look at the meal